then Deputy President, he is bound to declare such financial interest into the members' registerable interest register in the spirit of accountability and transparency. The National Director of Public Prosecutions, within 30 working days of receipt of this report, take note of the observations contained in paragraph 7.3.1 as well as the recommendations contained in 7.3.3 of the report, and in line with Section 6.4c Roman figure 1 of the Public Protector Act, conduct further investigation into the prima facie evidence of money laundering as uncovered during my investigation and deal with it accordingly. The National Commissioner of the South African Police, to within 30 working days of receipt of this report, investigate criminal conduct against Mr. Gavin Watson for violation of Section 11.3 of the Public Protector Act by lying under oath. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Public Protector. We are now going to open the floor for questions, but before I do that, let me just indicate that we have not printed copies of the report because we haven't got enough printing paper. So we have circulated it to our media contact list, but I'm told it is also live on our website, so people can download it from those two platforms. Let's see now by a show of hands who would like to pose a question to the Public Protector. Ms. Campion, you will assist me with the roving microphone. Okay, I've noted 1, 2, 3, 4 this side. There's 4 this side, 4 hands this side, and I see 2 more hands that side. That's 6. Let's take those first 6 hands, and we'll give others a chance in the second round. Start here.
Thank you. I'm Public Protector Karen Moore from Business Day. In your remedial action, you refer the matter to the NDPP, and you say she must conduct an investigation in what you have uncovered as prima facie evidence of money laundering. Is there any concern from you, given that normally directives to the NPA are simply in terms of them investigating and finding whether there is a prima facie basis, that you may be accused of kind of overstepping your powers and effectively ordering them to investigate? And then in regards to the notice of opposition that you have filed in the President's bid to have an order that he has in fact complied with your remedial action with regard to the Pravin Gordhan, Ivan Pillay saga, are you able at this point to give us any sense of what the basis for your opposition is? Is it simply that you continue to sustain the view that the President has not in fact complied and has in fact failed to uphold the Constitution? Thank you.
Next. Alex Mitchie from News 24. Public Protector, if I can just ask for clarity, you make notes on the money laundering. Is this relating to the donation amount from Watson that had to travel through several intermediaries before it going to the CR17 account? Or is this also relating to the CR17 account that obviously got in 191 million and transferred the same out? And you do say in your report that some of it was obviously transferred to other places, including his foundation. So if you could maybe just clarify on exactly who should be investigated for the money laundering. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Protector, my name is Moloko Mloto from ENCA. I would like you to clarify for us. You are saying that apparently, in good faith, the President made those remarks when he was responding in Parliament, yet you are continuing to say that he deliberately misled Parliament. Just juxtapose those two in simple terms for us. But also you are saying that you want the President to
make public all the donations he received. Also, somewhere you are saying that according to Mr. Watson, he made the donation to both the CR17 and the NDZ campaigns. Are you by default then saying that both the NDZ, but also the other four people who were contesting in the ANC should equally do likewise, especially those who were members of parliament? Are you saying that they should also divulge? I think those are my two questions for now. But also, how would you respond to people who are saying that you are now investigating political issues? Perhaps you should have limited yourself to the president as to whether he lied or not in court.
Good afternoon, I'm Cyril Hafaji from Daily Maverick. Doctor, through your report you raised the risk of state capture. I wonder if you could expound on that for us a little bit more. The second, are you recommending that all parties make public their donations that they receive in the course of campaigning? And just a small one, what's the quantum involved in the money laundering which you have identified, or the potential money laundered? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Public Protector. I'm Khalang Bata from Bloomberg News. In the first 2 points of the remedial action that you have outlined, you're basically referring the remedial action to Parliament or to the National Assembly and the Speaker thereof. Are there any specific actions that you would like to see the National Assembly or the Speaker take against President Ramaphosa with response to your findings?
Good afternoon, Public Protector. Puleli Treaty from Open News. Just a follow-up question on the Prophet Gordon matter, and now the President put a stop to order to take disciplinary against him. Will that cause a strain between Chapter 9 institution and the executives? Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, people.
Okay. Karen, the evidence which I have in my possession reflects the movement of the monies from one source to another source and the way the transactions were conducted. Therefore, I am not overstepping in my powers. This process will assist the NPA in the performance of their duties, and which we will avail to them as the public protector. And the notice of opposition, what is the basis? I think on that one we have, we still meet with the legal team, and we will clearly state our reasoning as to that effect. I think for now let's deal with what we came here for. Alec from News 24 on money laundering, all the monies which are involved in these transactions. In Zulu we say askwazi ukukhetha iphela emasini. The 500,000 was deposited into this EFG2 account, and now all the related accounts which it was moving from this source to that other source, and actually it's not only 191 million. I think you've heard me referring to how much was deposited into the other rear tender and that linked environment account. Muloto, I didn't say, it's the response of the president where he said he made a mistake in that. I think if you can read the report, I said what compelled him to respond. He shouldn't have responded to that. Maybe if you can just take me through to that paragraph you are referring to. And I also said he shouldn't have responded because the follow-up question was not relating to VBS by Mr. Maimane, and that's where he even said he felt attacked. And I think I've referred to the issue of, with his standing and stature, he shouldn't have allowed himself to just act on a spur of a moment and just respond to Mr. Maimane. He should have given himself time to go and prepare his response. Public donations, I think again as media, and if you can just find it in yourselves and also understand the parameters of our operations and the law. This misleading the public that the public protector should have also investigated the other candidates. It's very clear now. I think you should be understanding it and then report responsibly and factually. The president was the deputy president. I've investigated under the Executive Members Ethics Act. Whoever was the candidate, the complaint was not lodged against those. If there was any other one who was also a member of the executive, then the complaint can be lodged. So, here I was not even investigating Watson. I was not investigating NDZ, who was also not even a member of cabinet or a member of, I don't know whether she was a member of parliament. But under the Executive Members Ethics Act, I don't have jurisdiction to investigate members of parliament. I will never do that. I only investigate members of the executive. So this, again, it depends on the narrative which the media will be pushing. Why am I not investigating other politicians? I'm not investigating politicians at large. Fariel, what I'm trying to reflect here or to show is that there's a lot of donations or a lot of monies. I think you've seen the highest one is 51 million. How do you donate so much money? And that is a very concerning issue, because what are your expectations out of that? So hence I'm saying not even state capture, but state of capture, because you can give somebody money, and I think I've also read the definitions in terms of the PACA, what it says about receiving monies, and at the end of the day, just a donation. And again, those donors, hence I'm saying reflect them, or let's know who are they, because now Busasa, we know it was doing business with the state, and again they are under investigation, and we are concerned that we cannot allow any company doing business with the state then also be involved in donating or giving monies to the executive, especially under the code. So this is purely within that. So when you say all parties, again, I think it's clear, and it should be clear going forward that I am not investigating politicians or political parties. I think that is a different issue. I think you'd know that there's this law which will deal with that after the Constitutional Court judgment. Here I'm dealing with the president as the executive, and then he was the deputy president, bound by this law. The quantum, I think you've heard me saying there are monies which move from EFG2 to reattender, some move to linked. So I'm saying to you is around 191 million in another, but then those monies, when they move to reattender also had other resources or other donations, and from there also linked also had. So you have 388 million, you've got 191 million, and you've got the other million. So it might be around 800 to 900, depending on analysis of the information. I didn't analyze all the details, though I have the evidence in my possession which reflects that. But I have referred the remedial action to the Speaker, And I think it's very clear here, I wouldn't dictate to the Speaker and members of Parliament how they should be dealing with this matter. It's up to them because there's that standing joint committee on ethics and members' interest for consideration in terms of paragraph 10 of the Parliament Code of Ethics, and also requesting the Speaker to consider these rules, because I'm also saying from my side, I think even after the Nkandla judgment, the then Public Protector indicated that where you are investigating the President, the Executive Members Ethics Act is not clear. When you are investigating the President, who do you inform? So we've just had to refer the matter to the Speaker. But in this instance, again, I'm saying I'm picking up a lot of challenges of receiving complaints from members of Parliament against the Executive for lying in Parliament. And the rules are not clear whether people can correct whatever they've said. And we've seen several ministers who were removed because of misleading, or even others inadvertently misleading Parliament. So I think this needs to be considered by the Speaker. And the publication of the donations, I think that needs to be available for all to see and to know who are those donors. I think it will help us for transparency, and also to know that we can also avoid and deal with the perceptions, or again the potential or threat or the risk of state of capture. And then Buledi, on the PG matter, I think I've indicated several times that the President is a constitutional being. The President is one of the constitutional institutions who's also taken an oath of office. So there's the relationship between the Chapter 9 institution and the Executive. There's nothing problematic there, but what I'm still urging the Executive, hence I'm going around the provinces to engage the Executive of various provinces. They need to respect the Constitution. They've taken an oath of office. So that's all I can say.
Thank you, Public Protector. Are there any more questions? I see Logo, Karen, Alex, just those three for now. So we have order, please. Thank you. And then also one.
Yes, Advocate Mulukumloto again from ENCA. Go to page 37 of your media statement. Let's go to Roman figure number 4. You are saying there, I hope you're there. I therefore find President, this is under your findings by the way, I therefore find President Ramaphosa's conduct as referred to above, although ostensibly in good faith. For me, ostensibly means apparently. And you are saying you found it to be inconsistent with his office as member of cabinet. But then, Roman figure 1, you are saying you are clear that the allegation that he deliberately misled the National Assembly is substantiated. I'm just saying in simple terms, here in your findings, you believe that apparently or clearly when he responded to Mr. Maimane, it wasn't good faith. But then you are saying it was a deliberate act to mislead Parliament. But another question, I'm going back to the question relating to the fact that Mr. Watson donated also to NDZ. NDZ at that time, or Minister Ngwasasana Minister at that time, was not just a politician, she was a member of the executive. I stand to be corrected, okay, she was not. But those who were members of the executive, those who were contesting the ANC presidency, even if the donation did not come from Mr. Watson, the question is, does does it mean that your report, now the effects of it, is that they must also make those donations publicly? Lastly, I just want us to know, let us know about the seriousness of this. I mean, this is about the President of the Republic. In terms of the laws, if somebody lies in Parliament or mislead Parliament, usually what is the law say? What are the implications? Educate us, please.
Advocate, just in relation to your response to the court action against you by Minister Gordhan, you have said that you regard his averments about the findings you've made against him being part of some kind of fight back against from the people, the state capture crowd, etc., etc. You regard them as contemptuous. Are you in fact seeking for the court to make an order that he has shown contempt for the Public Protector's Office? And what kind of sanction should he face in your mind in terms of that, if indeed that ruling is made by a court of law?
Advocate Alex again from News 24. I just want to double check if you can maybe just explain this to me. I'm not a very clever person. There seems to be, you note that Gavin Watson lied under oath, but on page 28 you also say that the campaign managers, you found evidence to the contrary of what the campaign managers told you in terms of that certain things would not be disclosed to President Ramaphosa. And I think you also earlier in this statement also said that Ramaphosa said that he didn't have this type of information. So were the campaign managers of the CO17 fund also lying? And did President Ramaphosa also lie to you in your investigations? I think that's my question straight up. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Just for quick clarity, when you say that the NDPP must investigate in 30 days, is that to complete or to start the money laundering investigation? Thank you.
Again from Open News. You stressed that you don't have any relations with political organizations or executives whatsoever, but there seems to be some sort of support from the economic freedom fighters in recent weeks, also saying that they will go to the streets in protection of your institution. What is the relation there between you and them? Just clarity there if you do have one or not. And then secondly, do you think that you have a problem in terms of how those implicated in your reports respond towards them? Is it becoming a problem whereby they backlash against the report when you release them, trying to take it to court and go against them? That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moloko. The finding is he misled. I think if you read our reports, then the information the paragraphs which comes after is taking into consideration what he also said, because that's why I'm saying ostensibly, apparently in good faith, because that's what he is saying, and by rectifying or correcting that statement and also by informing me that he met with his family and children, telling them that they shouldn't engage in business with companies which have contracts with the state. So it's purely making sure that I capture also what he's been saying. If you read our reports, you will understand that, especially under findings, we will then say there's a finding and what are the facts and what is the law about applicable to that particular finding. But I think we can deliberate more on that later. NDZ was a member. He was not an executive. And the others, if a complaint is lodged against them, this investigation was against the president. So I don't know whether, unless if they then want to use their conscience and also be upfront and say, actually I received monies from these companies and now I am declaring them. So the other question which came, the people who are implicated or like that Watson lied in under oath, that information is captured, and also I'm saying for further attention because it was under oath. I didn't deal with this, but yes, indeed, they also were not genuine in their interaction with the power protector, and there's that information within our report or evidence, and with this one we have also reflected what the response to the affidavit said and what the audio or recording was saying about the lying or the misleading. But again, even the president, by saying, because in the Section 79 notice, we clearly requested him to provide any other information or evidence to give him an opportunity again to present any other information to that effect. But unfortunately, that was not brought to our attention. Hence, I can mention it in the report because I do have evidence which reflects that engagement between him and them, updating him, and between him and the donors. So the PG affidavit, I think we will deal with during the court process, Karen. I'll avoid to engage on those issues because unfortunately I've learned the hard way that some media briefing or statements we are issuing, they end up in the other parties' affidavits against the public protector. So we will engage in that. But what I would say is, as a person who is has taken an oath of office in terms of Section 95 of the Constitution, you expect a certain level of behavior or how they would conduct themselves or how they would respect the Constitution, the law, and the institutions which are established in terms of the Constitution. Then the issue of 30 days to the NDPP, I think we are saying further into the NDPP conduct further investigation into the prima facie evidence. So it's further investigation, Ferial. It's not the completion. I mean, it will be up to them while we will give them that evidence. I didn't say I don't have a relationship. What I said, my work is I'm operating in a political space. Therefore, even the executive, I'm responsible for investigating them in terms of the Executive Members Ethics Act. But then now when you say a relationship with politicians, yes, definitely I don't have with them. I do my work. I'm independent without fear or favor. And now how do you expect me to respond about the behavior of EFF? Because if they insist on the president and any other person to respect the Constitution, I think everybody must respect the Constitution. So from my perspective, I would say the law applies to everyone and it should be respected. So I think I've covered all your questions. The review of cases. Well, we operate in a legal sphere, and people have a right to take our reports on review. There's nothing wrong in that, and there's not a backlash. And I even indicated that unfortunately some will use the courts for frivolous litigation. They have a right to do that, as much as the public protector has a right to defend and oppose those applications and make sure that I assist the court. I mean, opposing any application, it doesn't mean you are fighting. Opposing, you would want to bring your side of the story so that you assist the court to come to a proper conclusion. So I don't see it as a backlash, and I don't see it as negative. Thank you.
We have one last question from the Mail and Guardian Training. I see Karen also wants to have the last bite. Alex, I hope this is the last round. Just three now. Franny, Karen, and Alex.
Good day, Public Protector. I'm Franny from the Mail and Guardian. I have two questions. The one is concerning the remedial action of referring it to the Joint Committee. In my understanding, the President is not an MP anymore. So does the Joint Committee have jurisdiction over him as executive? That's the first question. The second question is, when you're referring to the three big donors, or the one donor that made the three big donations, do you know who that donor is? And can you share that with us, if you do? Thank you.
Thank you. Just a clarifying question. As far as I understand, with trust accounts, both according to the codes of conduct and the law, there's no obligation, legal obligation to disclose donations made to trust accounts. Given that the account in question was a trust account, is there any kind of potential legal clash between your findings in remedial action and that kind of aspect of the law? I'm speaking under correction, I may be wrong. And just to clarify, because there seems to be a little bit of confusion, are you suggesting that the Speaker the Parliament should consider removing Ramaphosa, given the findings that you made against him? Thanks.
Alex, again, sorry, just I want to clarify something. Given that you said that all the monies that have come in and out, all the accounts should be investigated for possible money laundering, and you also note that the President himself said that money should be transferred to his fund account, would you be able to tell us, as far as you said you have prima facie evidence, would you be able to bring us into your confidence as to who would be implicated? Would it be fund managers? Would it be the President, Gavin Watson? Who would be the implicated individuals for the money laundering? Thank you.
That was the last question. You may respond.
That is the highest authority that runs this country.
Okay. Thank you for your follow-up questions, Mail and Guardian. Remedial action, the Joint Committee. The Speaker will determine within her discretion to deal with this remedial action. But remember, the Joint Committee can deal with matters of former MPs as well. So remember, he was, let's say, Deputy President. Yeah, so that will be dealt with. Do I know the donors? The evidence which we have the account numbers. That is for the President to declare. Hence, I'm saying he must declare who are those donors. And trust account is not immune from the law. And again, we cannot be perpetuating using trust account then it means we are not respecting the rule of law, where we would insist that trust account have no obligation to disclose. In this particular instance, the monies which were in the CR17 account, especially the EFG2 account, that was closed, and hence we are saying the president should be disclosing that because it benefited him. Karen, I wouldn't. Why must I comment about the removal and everything? I mean, I'm here to show to the country and even the leadership of the country and even the South Africans that we cannot, as a country, if we would want to. In fact, the president committed to a clean governance, to act and respect the constitution. Therefore, this is for the benefit of everyone to know what transpired and also to correct and make sure that it doesn't repeat itself. The money laundering issue, that is for the NPA to follow up. The details we have, we will share with them. Especially the people who were transferring, who were the trustees, who were the people who opened the accounts, which in the report we have shown in the report. I think if you check page 84 of the report, you will see how the account, the money is moved, and who are the people, who are the trustees, who are the signatories of Riadenda, Linklet or linked Environ account. So it's there, page 84. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Public Protector. That brings us to the end of the briefing session. Thank you so much to all the participants.
Okay, so